One of the impediments is a failure to recognize that, like any other chronic relapsing disorder, progressive relapsing disorder, this requires a lot of patience in the entry phase, and it requires an awful lot of commitment to the longer term recovery phase. Mm-hmm. You don't get somebody who has diabetes, give them a syringe and some insulin and say, okay, go forth, get well, and by the way, that's it. We don't need to see you anymore from this point on. You know, they have not been recovered. They are entering a period in their lives where they will have to make enormous adjustments. And then, in fact, if you look at the diabetic and see how he got to your office and into the treatment role in the first place, or in the patient role, it wasn't a matter of immediate acceptance. The last thing they wanted to be was diabetic, because they're going to lose their eyesight, they're going to lose their limbs, they're going to lose their kidneys. There will be a loss of all of that is important to them in terms of function and maybe job and being able to do the stuff they wanted to do and staying alive to raise the great-grandkids and so on. They don't accept it readily. Anybody who thinks that folks come into that particular chronic progressive relapsing disorder and are just suddenly accepting of it and grateful for the treatment has a distorted view of that illness state. And yet it's not all that different from what happens with alcoholism. So what we do, ideally, is try to get people first to accommodate gradually to the notion that they've got an impairing disorder and it's going to take an awful lot of effort to get well. And that once they are actually on the ascendant route to recovering the life that they wanted to have back when they started using at age 15 or whenever it was, they've got a lot of ongoing maintenance to do. Used to be a time when you could buy cigarettes in bars from vending machines, okay? Well, let's use that example again, or better yet, just the basic 7-Eleven. Okay, you go into a 7-Eleven, your intent is to pick up something reasonably benign like a package of Twinkies, and lo and behold, locked up behind the cashier register are all these cigarettes, and right next to the cigarettes happen to be the alcohol, okay? But you're still smoking cigarettes, you buy cigarettes from there. At some point along the line, you may inadvertently fall drunk, if you understand my meaning. And so that goes into your relapse prevention plan, which is, I guess, for this time and place, 7-Elevens are not a good place for me to be. I am just going to have to write that out of the range of places that I can go. If I had vertigo, I would not be a mountain climber anymore. That's just not a safe place for me to go. I can't go into 7-Elevens for a little while here, and that gets written into the relapse plan. It's called subtle behavior because of the mnemonic that it is seemingly unimportant behavior that leads to error, S-U-B-T-L-E. And at some point along the line, you begin to recognize which ones there are, and you write them down. And like most other good orderly preparations, it protects you.